our special guest today is Christopher Reich. Is that right, Christopher?
That's right, yes.
Okay, I got your name right. You are a master at espionage thrillers, I understand.
Yes.
How did you, but you were once a banker.
Indeed. I was working in investment banking in Switzerland. I had gotten my MBA at the University of Texas, worked very hard, was working at the Union Bank of Switzerland for a number of years. And after about living in Switzerland for 7 or 8 years, I decided I didn't want to pursue that career anymore. And I had to think of a new way to make a living. And I went to my wife, I said, you know, Sue, I think I want to be a novelist. And she looked at me and she said, really? She goes, well, tell me, have you been writing any short stories that I don't know about? I said, no. I said, did you even take one English class in college? I said, no, I didn't. He goes, then what makes you think you could do this? And you know, I said, I just know I can be a writer. So I quit my job, a great job as a vice president at a big bank in Switzerland, moved back to Austin, Texas, where I'd done my studies earlier, and gave myself 2 years to write a novel. 2 years to succeed. That book became Numbered Account. It was my first book. It's a kind of an interesting story. I wrote the first book, and I was able to get the first 100 pages into the hands of the famous author James Patterson.
Right.
This is back in 1996. He'd just written, I think, Along Came a Spider and Kiss the Girls. And Jim was kind enough to actually read some of those pages.
Yeah.
And he gave me a call. He goes, Chris, I read this. He goes, this book is fantastic. I'm going to break my rule of X number of years, and I'm going to introduce you to my agent and recommend that he represent you. So 10 minutes later, his agent calls, Richard Pine. He said, Chris, this was like the early Robert Ludlum books that I just loved when I was a kid. You know, I really want to work with you. So, you know, I said, of course, you like the book, perfect, let's go. Little did I know, we then rewrote that book, which was Numbered Account, about 6 or 7 times. So when we spoke, it was in May. Finally, in January of 1997, the book went out for auction and sold to Delacorte, and then for a lot of money. And then the next year, it came out and went right away to the top 10 of the New York Times bestseller list.
Wow.
So I've had a very gifted, magical career, and I'm so thankful.